Welcome to Classic Cinema Reviews. Today I'll be reviewing the Oscar-nominated World War II drama 12 O'Clock High from 1949 by director Henry King. This movie tells the story of a beloved commander of a bombing crew, Colonel Davenport, played by Gary Merrill, who is deeply shaken after a casualty-filled flight. Colonel Davenport's superior, General Pritchard, played by Millard Mitchell, orders him replaced by hard-nosed General Savage, played by Gregory Peck, who preaches hard work and relentless courage above all else. This film explores the question, will General Savage's no-nonsense, unemotional approach help his men reduce their heavy losses or demoralize them even further? This film was adapted from a 1948 novel of the same title by screenwriters Cy Bartlett and Bernie Lay Jr., both veterans of the U.S. 8th Air Force. It is highly regarded as a powerful and authentic depiction of the human toll of combat, and was lauded for shifting away from the more optimistic tone of most World War II-era films made until then. Given that this is a movie about Air Force pilots, we see surprisingly little combat or flights. The film opens with a framing flashback in which a major, played by Dean Jagger, visits an empty airfield and reflects on his experiences back in 1942. We then see a group of pilots arriving back after a deadly flight, with one asking outright, "What do I do with an arm, sir?" This intentionally shocking line is meant to show us how normalized horrific scenarios have become for these men, and we sympathize completely not only with the traumatized pilots, but with their commander, played by Gary Merrill, who wonders how much the boys can handle. The remainder of the film pivots to Peck's General Savage, whose approach is polar opposite to that of Merrill's Colonel Davenport. As Savage tells the men, "I'm not trying to tell you not to be afraid. Fear is normal. But stop worrying about it and about yourselves. Stop making plans. Forget about going home." To the film's credit, no artificial dramas or conflicts are created between individuals jockeying for power. Instead, we get the real sense that these leaders are trying to figure out precisely the best way to motivate their men to risk their lives for the sake of a bigger cause, even if this involves using harsh language to call out cowardice, as when General Savage speaks bluntly to a pilot, Lieutenant Colonel Ben Gately, played by Hugh Marlowe, who has not been pulling his weight. As Savage says to him, "You're the son of one fine officer and the grandson of another. As far as I'm concerned, you're yellow. A traitor to yourself, to this group, to the uniform you wear. I hate a man like you so much that I'm going to get your head down in the sand and tramp on it. I'm going to make you wish you'd never been born." Yikes, will this approach work? Eventually we find out. By the time we finally see later fight sequences, including Savage himself up in the air, we know that none of the choices that have been made are easy, and that all men eventually break at some point. What ultimately matters is the collective efficacy they built together. In case you're wondering about the film's title, I was, according to Wikipedia, the term 12 o'clock high refers to the practice of calling out the positions of attacking enemy aircraft by reference to an imaginary clock face, with the bomber at the center. The term high, above the bomber, level at the same altitude as the bomber, and low, below the bomber, further refined the location of the enemy. Thus, 12 o'clock high meant the attacker was approaching from directly ahead and above. I'll end my review of 12 o'clock high by highlighting some noteworthy elements to look for as you watch. These include Gregory Peck as General Savage, fine performances by the entire supporting cast, Leonard Shamroy's cinematography, and Cy Bartlett and Bernie Lay Jr.'s powerful screenplay. 12 O'Clock High was selected in 1998 for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. I consider it to be a must-see title, and I'm curious if you do too. Please add your thoughts on this movie in the comments section below. Please also feel free to leave suggestions for future titles you'd like to see reviewed on this site. Thanks for watching.